6:05 p.m. What's up, Pastor Jefferson there? Could you lead us in the invocation today, please?
Yes, sir.
Please, thank you. Pat Donaldson, if you could please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Ye who of ancient of days, giver of life, hope, liberty, you who expound grace, love, and hope, we who are frail and fragile come before you in this hour, in this chamber, to ask you to impart your wisdom upon the council members, to instill in them the joy and the excitement of service for our community. We pray for our community that it will be open and receptive to receive the guidance and follow the leadership that will help strengthen our community to be a very vibrant force in this community and the South Bay and Southern California. We ask you to meet us in this place. Amen.
Amen.
Shall we all stand? And we would like to first give honor to the military, if there's military people in here. And shall we begin on the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The roll call, please.
Councilmember Manning,
Here.
Councilmember Montero,
Here.
Councilmember Reyes English,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Here.
Mayor Vargas.
Here. All right. Thank you to all the community members who are here present and everybody who's watching us out there through cable. So let's take a look. All right, we have rules of decorum that apply to the city council, staff and the community members that are present and in the audience. Okay, so I don't want to repeat them. It's been going pretty good, so let's just keep that up. Also, I'm going to be enforcing the time limits on things a little bit more because I've gotten feedback that we've done well when we keep things efficient and to the time limits, but once we give latitude that's not supposed to be given, then it's the meetings go on forever and we lose kind of the flow of things, and nothing really gets accomplished when you just keep going and talking about stuff. Okay, so and then everybody can just get business done and go home, right? That's what we want. Efficient machine here. Okay, so that being said, we have about 5 presentations. Remember, the limits on these presentations are 10 minutes. So let's just move through them. We have a presentation from the South Bay COG, City's Council of Governments, Mr. Jake Romoff. Please approach the podium. Oh, Jackie Baccarat, she's here.
I just wanted to say hello, and I'm going to introduce Jake, who's program coordinator for this project.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Hi. Thank you all for having me here today. We are presenting the findings of the South Bay City's Restock Study. This is a REAP 2.0 study funded and managed through the Southern California Association of Governments with funding from HCD. And this was a regional effort to identify sustainable pathways through housing through the redevelopment of underutilized sites. So as I mentioned, this project was funded through SCAG and has been supported by them. And it is really also to support our cities with looking at these underutilized sites and assisting with potential RENA allocations. I do want to thank the city as well for being one of the 3 participating cities in the South Bay, along with Hawthorne, of course, Torrance, and Gardena. Your staff contributed to identifying sites with us, working with our consultant team to refine the analysis and refine the presentation that is brought to you today. So this study was made up of 3 components. The first is a sub-regional sites inventory. This is a GIS tool that allows customizable filters and layers that you and your city staff and the city staff throughout the sub-region can utilize from now and into the future when looking at the underutilized sites in your city that you might want to redevelop. This site will be maintained and available through the COG and will be updated with relevant information and updated data sets as time continues. The second part of this project was a site test fits and pro forma analysis. So along with the other participating cities of this project, city staff identified 2 sites within your city that they wanted to be analyzed for feasibility of developers to redevelop these sites, as well as the challenges that they would face in looking at these sites. This is not necessarily affordable or for market, but rather an holistic analysis of the financial potential of the sites from the perspective of developers and what it would take for interested parties to come in and want to work with these sites. The third part of this study was meeting with these developers, gathering input and developing case studies. We did in-depth analysis with affordable and for-profit developers. We learned about the challenges they face and the different ways cities can attract potential investment for developments in their jurisdiction. So a few key takeaways from this study, and I'll just list through these and give a little bit of an explanation. So the first one is housing redevelopment follows market strength. This one's kind of self-explanatory. Locations with higher rental rates and land values attract investment from developers. What this kind of means is zoning changes alone do not ensure redevelopment if the market demand is lacking. The second is that some commercial site types are more attractive, such as surface parking lots with few needed improvements and flexible layouts. We can see a big example of this is going on in Torrance right now with all the developments going up around the vacant lots on Del Amo Mall. The third is that replicable models depend on matching typology, site conditions, and parking strategies. Upzoning alone isn't enough. There's a diminishing return on density due to construction materials and parking requirements. As the development gets larger, we can't just do wood framing, you have to add concrete, and so there's a jump point with density where the feasibility becomes a lot more difficult. Gentle density products, such as townhomes, are becoming more and more economically feasible, and therefore they're more and more easy to attract developers interested in them. The fourth is that proximity to high-demand services and retailers expands the feasibility opportunities and attracts developers. We've all known this, that well-rounded, full communities draw in developers, communities that have diverse, dense destinations, community resources, and attractions to the general population. That's where developers want to build. The fifth one is that affordable housing often requires public intervention. It doesn't often pencil out on its own the affordability of adding capacity of affordable units, and so turning to other resources such as subsidies or public-private partnerships is a strategy that we are seeing more and more to make these developments pencil. One such example is actually the South Bay Housing Trust, which the COG, working with your city as a member, has actually just committed their first project, which is a $6 million loan for an affordable housing development here in Hawthorne. So that's a perfect example of how different resources can be utilized to build those affordable units. And then the last key takeaway is that regulatory certainty and process really shapes outcomes. Long entitlement times are one of the most significant barriers to housing, and process speed and local capacity are critical to unlocking commercial site redevelopment. So these are the 6 sites that our participating cities identified. We saw a variety of typologies. Torrance had a large surface lot. Carson looked at a mall redevelopment. And the 2 sites that the staff of Hawthorne identified, one was a strip center neighborhood redevelopment, and the other was a shallow corridor site. So I'm now going to walk through one of the sites in depth so you can see how we approach the test fit analysis in this study. So the Hawthorne Strip Center site is a good representative example. For every site, we collected the existing conditions information, such as the networks and transits and walking distance around that site. Additionally, as I mentioned, full diverse communities with amenities and destinations attract investments. So we looked at businesses within a 5-minute walk or half a mile to understand the neighborhood serving role of nearby commerce. Additionally, we also looked at planning and zoning requirements, including housing element statuses, density, and parking. So this first site on Hawthorne Boulevard is the Strip Center site located within a neighborhood. It's close proximity to businesses such as Ralph's, and is currently part of the city's 6-cycle housing element. The current zoning is commercial mixed use, and it does have mandated city parking requirements. The site does fall within a high-quality transit corridor. So when looking at this, our consultant team of Studio 111 developed 3 different designs and produced a pro forma to determine the feasibility of these 3 designs. The first, in the bottom, is a high-density wrap design with a parking structure. This was determined not considered viable from a feasibility standpoint. The second, in the top right, is a mid-density 4-story apartment, and this was potentially viable, with townhomes on the top left being likely viable. This supports what we were previously talking about, how lower density tends to pencil easier because of things that go into construction costs, such as wood framing versus construction, as well as when you get into higher density, parking needs, such as that parking structure, become very expensive, and there's a point of diminishing returns. So the next site that we looked at is on Prairie Avenue. This is a long, shallow corridor. Currently, there is an auto business located on the site. The site is also part of the 6-cycle housing element, and the underlying zoning is general commercial with a housing overlay. Similar to the first site, there are parking requirements, and this is a high-quality transit corridor. So for this site, 4 designs were developed and tested against the pro forma. Similar to the first site, we do see townhomes, and those are likely viable for those reasons stated before, as it's attractive to developers as a for-sale product. It doesn't require intense construction due to not crazy high densities. Design 2 offers a larger single and 2-person units. And so that's why this design is actually not considered viable, because those tend to drive cost per or revenue per square foot actually down, and it really pushes the limits of that gentle density feasibility. That's why in design 3, we took kind of a similar footprint of the design and added more variety to the types of units, because this increased the cost per square foot and created a potentially viable lease product. Similar to design 2 in the top right, design 3, which is the bottom left, has tuck-under parking, which allows to maximize the space and provide parking to the community. This is a potentially viable for-lease product. Now, design 4 is where there's a lot of increased density, and it penciled out, but very barely, and it was likely due to higher rent prices that were assumed in the pro forma. This would depend on if a potential developer could come in and pull the value out of those rent prices. For all designs, no affordable housing was deemed feasible, but that is under the assumption that there are no external subsidies, no public-private partnerships, purely from the perspective of a developer looking at this investment. So some main takeaways from this one is, as I said, this site does currently have an auto business on it, and that may require some remediation of the site, which could prove some challenges. And then additionally, similar to Site 1, gentle and mid-density tend to be more feasible than those high-density units. Lastly, these sites, to make them pencil and to provide the tuck-under parking or for the townhomes, would require parking requirements to be eased, such as removing guest parking. And this kind of shows the importance of alternative mobility strategies, such as micromobility, for example. Oh, jumped one. So some key recommendations that are pretty general looking at this comes from these test fits as well as meetings with the developers, is focusing on high opportunity sites within destination areas. As we mentioned, destination attracts investors, and investors' investments in quality in the place of urban design creates that full community. The second is enable a large range of housing products. Construction costs are low, and parking doesn't require separate building when you're talking about gentle density, townhomes, small developments, and this supports the sales of these properties. The third is rethinking parking and mobility together. Flexible and reduced parking strategies, they must be paired with investments in mobility options, whether that is a micromobility hub, whether that is transit connections. There are opportunities to reduce the footprint of parking that make these designs pencil while still providing connectivity for the residents. The fourth goes hand in hand with what I said with the first, is investing in the quality of place and urban design attracts investment from developers, such as grocery stores, businesses, and walkable amenities around housing development. The fifth one is the public tools to unlock affordable housing production. This is what I previously mentioned in the South Bay Housing Trust, and we're seeing that come into reality now in Hawthorne as the first project of the trust. And then the sixth one is really important to improve certainty and reduce risk while maintaining quality. This means making the development process transparent and easy to navigate with the goal to reduce barriers and obstacles that dissuade developer interests, such as time, standards, moving from subjective to objective standards, and removing guesswork from the development, planning, and design. So our recommendation for this council is to consider the study and the final report and potentially pursue those recommendations, but we are also working with your staff on creating more tailored recommendations that we plan to hopefully return to this council with. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, thank you for being here. I don't know what the origin of this study and our participation was. I only see that you have Hawthorne, Carson, and Torrance. Why didn't you include some of this wonderful housing for some of these peninsula cities?
Upon the application, the development of the application for the REAP 2, those were the three interested participating cities. Part of this project, though, was to look at the greater South Bay. So we had 6 sites that were identified by the 3 participating cities, and then using that underutilized GIS tool, we identified an additional 7 sites across the South Bay that also received this fit and feasibility analysis. For the sake of time, I'm presenting the Hawthorne sites today.
Oh, okay. So what about the peninsula cities? Do you approach them, or do they just maybe not want to participate because they want to maybe maintain the integrity of their communities?
Well, I can't speak to their thought process, but when we chose our 7 sites, we did this based off of the scoring tool to determine underutilized sites, factoring in age of buildings, floor to area ratios, as well as some regional priorities such as connectivity. And quite frankly, the peninsula didn't rank super high with a lot of those sites based off of the scoring criteria we developed, as there's not much commercial already on the peninsula, therefore there's probably not much underutilized.
Oh, underutilized? Okay, yeah, because they have their nice, big, fancy mansions that we can't build some affordable housing right there, right? Is that your conclusion? Would you agree with my statement?
I wouldn't go to make any conclusions about their motives.
And do you think we really need some studies like this to help us with high-density housing or density housing of this nature? Do you really think that this is going to be an added, benefit to us? Do we really need this? Like, we don't have any experience with developers in the city?
I think working closely with your staff, they've expressed that this has added value to their work, as well as this was...
on the mic over there.
Oh, sorry.
Huh?
Keep going. Yeah, sorry for that.
Oh, yeah, no, working with their staff, we've heard expressed value in the reports of these findings, as well as the challenges that some of the developers face would greatly assist with your understandings as you go to looking at redeveloping these sites.
Challenges, developers, like everybody here in this room and out there thinks that we need some help with developers. They find their way of putting up their high-density housings all over the city. I mean, I really don't see what the purpose of this. An area that has some commercial sites that could remain commercial sites, especially along Prairie, I think I really don't find any added value, and I'm kind of disappointed in staff for even suggesting our participation in this. So, I don't know.
Through the chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
So thank you, Jake, and thank you, Jackie, for being here. So actually, this is just it's a study. It's a pilot project that actually was funding, to SCAC. We are a member of that SCAC, right? And basically what they're trying to do is across California, we have all this RHNA, the mandate housing, affordable housing that we have to do. And for us to be able to be certified by the state that our housing element is current, we have to satisfy those RHNA numbers, right? So what SCAC and the South Bay Caucus was trying to do, it was to do a study to see what is out there in all these different cities, XX landing. For example, like the one that it shows, like Ralph, for example. Behind Ralph on Grevillea, we have a lot of vacant land there. It's supposed to be parked, but nobody parks there, right? So it's just a vacant lot, supposed to be parking, but potentially could be housing. It doesn't mean that we're going to build. It said potentially, just to give us an idea about our surplus land in Hawthorne that has not been utilized correctly. So, and the state have passed laws saying for the churches and some other entities to look at their lots to potentially to develop housing. So this is just a study to give us an idea if in fact we're supposed to do more housing in Hawthorne, we should do it smart. And that is what this study is showing us. We do it smart, not allow the developer to come and tell us, we're gonna do 200 units in that lot, but that we know it's not 200 units, it could be only 90 units. So now we have a study to go and say, okay, if you wanna develop something, this is some of the guidelines you should be looking at.
No, thank you for your feedback on that, but we know that the state has, whatever we put in place, it's not going to limit what the developers can do. We already know that this Scott Wiener gentleman, you know, he's already come up with some legislation that says that if we're near a transit-oriented corridor, we can build to whatever the state mandated or the state mandated limits are. So whatever we set here is not even going to, you know, be a cap. The part that disappoints me, though, is that staff still keeps on recommending these sites. The city of Hawthorne has all these communities. Some, we want to maintain the integrity of certain areas in our community, west and east. And the thing is that why can't we spread the zoning to allow for housing in some other areas? We have a place called the Glasgow Strip that's right next to the freeway, all along the freeway on the western part of the city, that if it was rezoned, we could have a great opportunity for housing, whether moderate, moderate density, lower density. We could start rezoning different parts of our city so that we could just even the load around our city, but we keep going to the same areas in our city and facilitate the building of these things, of these high density housing. And I just don't know why we keep doing this more of the same.
So, Mr. Mayor, can you let Greg explain why they participate in this event? Because he's the planning director,
I know,
so he
but
should give it to you.
no, thank you, but my concern is very direct as to why we keep putting this stuff in certain spots, and we don't spread it around our city if we are obligated. It's more of the same.
Go ahead, Greg.
May I speak? I think it's important that you realize that the two sites that we picked were both identified in the sixth cycle housing element as potential inventory sites. That means they've already been picked and approved by this council for housing. I'm not just pushing an agenda here. I'm trying to find a way to reach our RHNA number, which is going to increase again in the next round. We have to be creative about these things. So it's not a question of enhancing the density of places that are already dense. It's the reality that we have an oversupply of commercial, and we have to find other alternative uses for them. Open space is one, yes. Residential is one as well. And Prairie in particular is over-concentrated with not your most desirable commercials. So we're looking at Prairie as an example of a place where we might be able to put in some high-quality housing. I'm pleased with our participation in this. I thought it was very helpful because we're doing our housing element right now. And we have to look at creative ways of achieving our RHNA numbers again, because the next cycle starts very soon. I'll be hiring a consultant within the next year. So I'm sorry, but I take offense at your characterization of this. Honestly, I do.
Oh, well, okay, well, well, I'm sorry you take offense, but I live here, you do not live here. So, and my concerns are valid. Your concerns, the way you feel is secondary. And I really believe that your staff and whoever works with you have to start looking at locations around the city that might not be as popular
All due
as
respect,
people may
Mayor,
think.
we are. We're doing a housing element.
I just gave you a
I
suggestion,
mean, we're doing a
didn't I?
general plan update. What do
Did I give you a suggestion? I gave you a
Yes.
suggestion.
It's common sense. And we are doing that. But taking part in a study, we jumped at the opportunity, of course, because it doesn't obligate us to do anything, but it helps us to understand what the potential is. And furthermore, I'm pleased with the result that says that gentle density is much more feasible than high density. It's good to know that.
I'm going to give the mic over to my colleague, but I need you guys to start making zoning changes that allow for these RHNA numbers in areas that might not be as popular, because the thing is, we go to the same locations and add more and more to the different areas, okay? I think we really just need to bite the bullet and then just go there already. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Greg. Let me just, first of all, remember when. In 2009, when I made a recommendation to the council that we rezone in 2009 some of our areas of the city to be able to bring various types of housing, including work, live, right? Other housing, they wanted to recall me. That was in 2009. So fast forward, here we are, 2026, and we're in the same predicament. But now there's more of a consensus to have to now think out of the box and look at rezoning many areas. That includes over on the western portion of our city, not just, Prairie. And you're absolutely right. I think our city has grown. We've got more folks who want to live closer to, say, on and off a ramp, on and off a freeway, et cetera. But the other benefit that our city brings is how close we are to LAX. And so there's a lot of this, business, obviously, from airlines wanting to store their stuff here in Hawthorne. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. When there's a feasibility study such as this, and we're not having to put out of pocket, right? It's a good thing, because just similar to Clean Power Alliance, when we did the feasibility study, we jumped on that because we didn't have to come out of pocket, right? And some of these other folks that were late getting in had to pay to get in. So anytime there's a flexibility of feasibility that is not including a cost, that's great. And I do know that there's other cities that participated. However, I do get what the mayor's saying. We need to be able to share in our city in other areas. When I was capturing some of your presentation, you mentioned economic feasibility. I have yet to see a flexibility in economics to those that are trying to purchase a home. That includes myself, okay? People think, oh, you're rich, you're on the council, you work for the state, you do this, you do that. No, we're not. We're realistic. I'm not jumping into a situation like we did in 2009. Everybody was buying a home, and then what happened? Everybody lost their home, okay? It was too expensive after all. It was all said and done. All these balloon payments were due, and they couldn't afford it. So we really need to have strategy that speaks to long-term housing, not just the development of housing, but how are you helping those individuals to get in that housing and make this their forever home and stay in that housing? So again, the housing, especially for those, again, with fixed income and those that are medium to low income or income that, say, are something that they could afford and not, assume they could afford it. I have yet to speak to a developer who says, yes, we're going to give a portion of this housing to those individuals that are fixed income, low income. They really don't like to do that. They really don't. And when they do provide a number of housing, it's not enough. It's not enough to address the needs of those that I just made mention. So this is kind of redundant, right? Not saying that your presentation wasn't helpful. What I'm saying is, as long as we've been on the council here, we've heard a lot with regards to, economics, feasible economics, and whether or not affordability is something we could actually have here in Hawthorne. There's million-dollar homes being sold here in Hawthorne. I look at the market and I'm going, forget it. When is that ever going to happen? I'm not waiting for that. That's how come some folks stay in apartments, like myself, right? I'm single, not married, what I could afford, right? But we're not rich. We don't have it made, So I would love to buy a house, but I don't think it's going to be in my time here. It'll probably be back home in Idaho where I was born. That I could afford, right? So thank you for the presentation. I do agree with Councilmember Montero. And I do see that you partnered with Cosmont. Cosmont is one of our consultants. He's been discussing some of the stuff that we could do here, right? But at the end of the day, everybody's talking about, oh, you could build across the street at the mall. The mall is not ours. And we could say this until we're blue in the face. We do not own the mall. And that man is so stingy, he wanted 1,000 units on top of the mall. 1,000. Imagine that. A mall with 1,000 units on the mall, on top of the roof, and he still wasn't satisfied with that, even though we gave him a 5-0 vote for 700 or 600 units of housing. He still wanted 1,000. So those are the challenges we have, because when we're being contacted, it's just not me. We're all being contacted, and we have to be very careful, right, because of the Brown Act. But they could promise you things that you want, and at the end of the day, they don't deliver. And like most of us, we're not going to sell Hawthorne because somebody's, blowing smoke, where. And that's not how I operate. That's not how I operate. And I'm very forthright when I meet with people. I don't give them a promise, let alone hope, because our hope as a resident here for more than 40 years, I have yet to see what those developers and those alike are truly want to do for the community, the people of Hawthorne. I have yet to see that, including the rich folks like Elon Musk and those that are buying property all over on that other side. He owns majority of all that portion over there that we could ultimately look at for housing in commercial. Guess what? He's buying it all up. But thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
To the chair.
Yep.
I'm limited on how much I can speak tonight, but I just wanted to ask Greg, the comment came up about rezoning the west area, the west side. Is that in play or no?
The Glasgow Strip, no,
Yes.
it's not feasible. It's too narrow. We already have a shortage of open space in the cities. To sacrifice open space would be the wrong direction. We're not going to go that way. If we find other opportunities over there, we will definitely look at them. But right now, all we have are single-family homes, schools, and open space.
Okay. And I think it's key what Councilwoman Reyes English said about, buying a home for $1 million. Keep in mind, that's a townhome. That's not even a single-family resident on a piece of property that you have a yard. That is a 3-story townhome with your garage underneath your home. So we do need to find better ways. As far as this study, I appreciate the study that we didn't have to pay for it, because if I'm correct, Vaughn, if we did this through Cosmont, this is something he would have billed us for?
That's correct.
Okay, so I do appreciate you guys putting the time and energy into this so that we could at least see it. We're not obligated to it, and it definitely gets the wheels rolling, and maybe we can put our heads together up here and figure something else out. So thank you.
Go ahead.
Through the chair. Again, I want to commend the staff of Greg and the planning department, Sabe Cock. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jackie. Because Jake has been working on this for many months, and these results show us what we can do in the future, right? And specifically because if we have a plan, and then if this comes to fruition, we know what to tell the developer, what should they should look at, and not just say, I'm going to build 400 units, right? So it's a plan that we will have it, and that, like Greg said, is going to be part of our housing element that needs to be done, because every 5 years we have to do one, or we'll be punished by the state. So thank you again for this, because I think it's very important for us to be collaborating some other agency to bring these studies alive, to show potentially, because what some of us do not understand, we have a lot of commercial places that are empty, closed, bought up. So we need to find a solution for those, because it's a big blind, it's a big elephant all over Hawthorne that we cannot solve because we don't own those properties. And we need to do something creative and innovative. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
The chair.
Yes.
I just want to say I concur with Councilman Montero as well. Thank you so much for doing this presentation. I know it's a lot of work. I'm a realtor, so I understand both sides of the coin, affordability, non-affordability. But I've said this in all the years that I've been here and even before. So having that study and knowing what we can do, I know that I talk so often about all of our empty spaces. One in particular I always bring up is, you know, the one behind, Denny's and 99 Cent in all of those spaces. And I really want to say thank you so much, Greg, because I know how hard that you've been working on this plan, and I truly appreciate the work that you've done. And I think it's extraordinary because, again, we do have a lot of underutilized commercial spaces in our city, and if we don't do something about it, then it's going to continue to be underutilized. And so it's important that we start planning to make sure that we move forward, right? We can't continue what they say, keep doing the same thing and you get the same results. So we got to do something different if we want to see something different. And in this type of situation, we're in a situation where we're forced. We have to do something about it. And we don't have any land here in the city of Hawthorne. And I don't potentially see us knocking down any, land in the city to come up with housing. I mean, any land that we've had, I would say just recently, the houses that we had or condos that we had built right around the corner were the fire, across the street from the fire department, right? We got that, but other than that, we have to be creative. So I just want to say thank you to staff. Thank you to the city manager for all of your hard work and thinking out the box and being creative. Truly appreciate it. And thank you for saving us money and giving us information that we could potentially use and thinking out the box. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
The second presentation, Finance Director Felice Lopez.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. Almost a year ago, in August of 2025, you approved an agreement with RSG Solutions to prepare a long-term fiscal model or a financial plan. And tonight we'll have Jim Simon from RSG to present that. And just to refresh your memory, for a city government, a long-term financial plan serves as a strategic blueprint for managing the municipality's finances over many years. It helps ensure that the city can sustainably fund essential services, infrastructure, and development projects while maintaining fiscal health. Ultimately, a long-term plan enables the city to remain financially healthy, serve its residents effectively, and respond to challenges in the economic, social, and political landscape. So I'll have Jim Simon go ahead and make his presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm Jim Simon with RSG. We're a consultant that's I'm based here in Los Angeles, but we've done a number of these types of studies for other public agencies. We also do annexation studies, helped the cities incorporate. City of Mountain House a couple of years ago incorporate. So we've done a number of these types of things, and I'll commend staff as well as council for taking this work seriously. Candidly, most jurisdictions do not do long-term planning. This may be a surprise to you all because you do. But a lot of times their view of a long-term financial plan is like, a 2-year budget. But in this case, you're looking out well beyond that to see, how does the city continue to provide a level of services that the community is accustomed to receiving, and how do we make sure it's resilient in order to do that long term. So that's really the purpose of this study. And secondarily, look at what mechanisms may be available to the city to ensure that that's the case going forward. So that's this conversation that we'll be getting into tonight. First off, there is what is kind of generally termed as a structural deficit that the city is facing. That's not today, but in about 10 years, the city's revenues will not be sufficient to meet annual budget costs, and that will cause the city to have to erode into reserves, cash reserves, and as the spending would exceed the revenues. That's largely because some of your major revenue sources, particularly sales tax and hotel taxes, which we'll be talking about, also known as transient occupancy tax or TOT, have not been performing at the levels that they've historically performed at. And so that, coupled with, obviously expenditures continuing to grow, creates this issue of this gap between revenues and expenses. And so there are many things cities can do. Short term, they typically will lead into reserves. So they will also look at, cost management, and every year the city is managing their costs through the budget process and looking at those types of things. And then the third step that usually comes into play is looking at revenues. What can be done to change the revenue picture in the city to do that? And that's really what we helped staff evaluate was, could an increase in the hotel tax rate be a mechanism to help mitigate this potential structural deficit? And the answer is yes. We project that it can be possible, even if that resulted in some diminishment of occupancy in the city. Studies have shown that that's pretty limited in terms of those impacts. So just kind of getting into some of the background here from what we've talked about so far. So the city has about $114 million revenue every year that it collects to pay for services. And those revenues, kind of are shown in the illustration there in the graph, with the largest being sales tax, about $37 million. The local tax, that's additional sales tax the city levies, of about $25 million. And then hotel taxes, are about $5.5 million. You see some other revenues in there as well. We did a projection of those revenues through the year 2041, and based upon historic trends and other factors, project those revenues to grow anywhere between 3.2 to 4.8% in our fiscal model, which the staff has a copy of and can be using on a go-forward basis. Expenditures presently are at $109 million for 25-26, but as I mentioned, those expenses are anticipated to grow at a faster rate. This is not a phenomenon. This is mostly for the public. I think council's aware. This is not unique to Hawthorne. Most cities are seeing their expenses increase or be at a higher growth than revenues for numerous reasons: changes in the local economies and changes in costs of insurance, costs of living. All of those things trickle down to what it costs to provide public services. And so that's why we see that picture in that light. And as I mentioned, you see here in the graph the total revenues being in the green, which is a little hard to see, but it's the top line is the green line, which is total revenues and total expenditures. And you see out in the future, that's when those things start to get really close, if not be exceeded by expenditures. And so we say that that's the structural deficit that we're showing, where it's a little hard to tell because it's a scale, but in 25, 30, 35, 36, those expenses will exceed. So again, what could the city do? You see that gap there between revenues and expenses. Well, the bars correspond to the reserves, and the city could, on a short-term basis, use reserves. But, when you have a structural deficit, that means every single year you're going to be facing that same problem, and you can only be going to the bank account so long before you have to figure out another solution. And so what we were asked to then look at is, well, let's explore what happens if we change the city's hotel tax rate, which is currently 12%, has been that rate for quite some time. I'll kind of jump past some of these background slides because I think these are just generally methodology questions that we looked at the market and what share of the market your community and your region takes into account. We've got 1,780 hotel rooms with another 500 in the pipeline. Those room rates have grown by about 2% a year, which seems probably a little bit low. But again, you have COVID, and you also had the overall drop in tourism into the, candidly, the United States as well as the Los Angeles market, although we obviously know there's several things that are happening in the next 3 years that will dramatically change those numbers. Here's where we show the share of hotel taxes as relative to the city general fund. Some cities rely on hotel taxes to a greater rate than yours. Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, El Segundo, Manhattan Beach, and Culver City all have a larger share of their general fund revenues, or the revenues that you use to pay services, that come from hotel taxes. Torrance, Lawndale, Inglewood, Gardena actually have a lower share of their taxes that come from that. City's share is about 6.25% of total revenue in the general fund that comes from that. As for the tax rate itself, in other words, what's the tax that someone pays when they check into a hotel and pay at checkout? Yours is 12%. That's the tax that's on top of the room rate that they pay. And you see a number of jurisdictions have rates that are equal to, if not somewhat higher than yours, most of which right now is Inglewood. I'm sure you're aware of the city of Los Angeles is also looking at a hotel tax rate increase. We've talked to some of these jurisdictions, not all of them. Candidly, these are kind of one of these things that nobody wants to be the first man out the gate. So I think LA doing it is probably causing some jurisdictions to start exploring this at this time, particularly with, again, the increased tourism that's anticipated. And so we looked at the model, and then the 15-year model that we prepared for staff, and then looked at the implication of various hotel tax rate increases, and then evaluated what that would do to both demand for those hotel rooms as well as the total revenues to the general fund. And so these kind of just identifies current assumptions for the market and where occupancy rates would be at. We see some increase in occupancy rates, we anticipate because of the Super Bowl next year, and then again with LA 28 in a couple of years, and then it probably leveling out after that to a more modest annual growth rate. You also see that we've assumed a slightly higher occupancy rate in hotel rooms. That's over an annual basis. Obviously, during events like the Olympics and things of that sort, it's going to be much higher. Afterwards, not so much. So that just kind of basically shows how we went about doing this. And then finally, this is the page that you're probably most interested in is, well, what do these various tax rates do to the structural deficit that city is facing? And so for every 1% increase in the city's 12% rate, you do see an increase in revenues by about $900,000 a year. We've highlighted the 17% threshold because that is where you would essentially be eliminating the structural deficit for the foreseeable future, that 15-year horizon that we showed. In other words, that revenues would be sufficient to meet anticipated services over the next 15 years. And that's the reason for that illustration that you see there on that page. I'm just gonna, we did run a sensitivity analysis to see, what would happen if, the revenues were reduced and that type of thing because of maybe a lower increase in annual hotel tax occupancy. So if it was a 3% increase versus, the 4% and the 6%, what does that do? In other words, if our forecast of annual hotel taxes would be off, there's still an increase of about $2.5 million a year under a more conservative forecast. So that's what you see on that slide. So why look at the tax rate increase? And that's obviously something that will ultimately need to go to the voters, and this body will need to endorse that idea. But the most important thing is it provides for the long-term sustainability of services at the city, which includes, obviously public safety, parks and recreation, and those types of things, so that the city and the residents in particular have a way of continuing to see, the quality of life that they have here in Hawthorne to be maintained. It would be certainly consistent with the general plan objectives, which, address things like maintaining that quality of life going forward in the future, and then provide the city to have the ability to fund infrastructure and other capital improvements when funds become available for that. So just as kind of to wrap up, and then I'll certainly answer any questions you have, a TOT rate increase, is possible under this current market. Again, I'm not a political consultant, so I'm not pretending to be a lobbyist here and tell you whether or not it's politically viable. I'm just talking about it from a mathematical standpoint at this stage. That would obviously be something you'll need to evaluate if you're proceeding with a ballot measure. And then it would certainly help, particularly based upon the threshold and the amount of that increase, to mitigate, if not fully mitigate, the potential structural deficit that you have. And therefore, looking at that is something that we would suggest you evaluate. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. I appreciate this, and I know we're noticing that we have commercial land that's being considered for the housing and stuff. So the commercial aspect, point of sale, and the sales tax increases because we're losing that land, or it's inactive, or whatever you want to call it. I think we need to look to other alternatives to be able to bring in money for the city. So, this is, we don't want to raise taxes, and we don't want to ask the residents to help us raise taxes, but this is for people coming in to the city of Hawthorne that are going to stay in the city of Hawthorne. This, if it were taken to the voters, we want the residents to know that it's not an imposition of tax on them. This is for those who choose to stay here in the city of Hawthorne at one of our hotels. Mr. City Attorney, is this something that needs to go out to the voters?
Yes.
Okay. How about so say for example we have this World Cup thing that's going to happen right now, big, and then we have the Olympics that are coming up, and then we'll have other, maybe another Super Bowl comes. Would it be possible to, if there was a ballot statement that would be written, would it be feasible or possible to write the language so that when a big event of that nature comes into town, that there might be an added 1 or 2% increase during that, maybe a 1 week to 2 weeks, to like 1 week before, 1 week after that event?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I'm just thinking, a temporary increase. If we were to write that in, if we're going to increase the baseline, then maybe that's something that we could write in around those festivals and those periods. Anybody? Yeah, go ahead. I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah. Not that it's conclusive.
Thank you for your presentation. Again, just to reiterate that this tax is for the tourists, just people that coming to stay in our hotel, okay? So, and we know that a lot of cities is looking into this because it's a lot of events that's going to be happened, like you mentioned, the Super Bowl 27, the Olympics. So we're going to have a lot of transit people coming, stay in our city, right? When they stay, that's the way they pay for us to fix your pothole, create more parking garage, create more, like you said, quality of life for our residents. So we don't want these people just to come in our city. Sometimes they trash stuff, right? And then we have to fix the stuff. So, because when you go to hotels, like for example, when you go to Vegas, it's almost like 19% TOT. You go to any cities across the nation, even internationally, you pay that TOT, that is transit-oriented tax, to pay for service of that city because, infrastructure and repairs, it all have to come from general fund. And we have to have money. And what you have shown is in 10 years, we're going to be in deficit. So I think we should just increase, like you suggested, maybe to 16 or 17% and leave it that way for the duration because we're going to need more revenues because we know the economy is not looking good. We might go to a recession. And if we go into recession, people will begin not to go shop, not to go places, and then we're going to suffer because our major source of revenue is sales tax. If the economy goes down the drain, we're going to suffer. So TOT is important for our city because they have shown that, especially with the concert, like it was a Taylor Swift concert, the hotels were packed. And people left a lot of trash in our city, so we have to clean it up. And down the street on Inglewood, it's going to be event every single week. It's 52 weeks of events, not just NFL football, but they have concert. We have the Clipper Stadium. So things are going to happen and happen and happen. So Hawthorne, we need to find a way that some of that revenue stay in our city. And if that is through TOT tax. So I would propose was to put this on the ballot as a 16 or 70% and stay there, not temporary, but continue for the future.
To the chair.
Colleague, what I meant was, I like what you said, but there might be some extra special event that I think if we could write it in, that we could just increase it by 1 or 2% during those extra demand events, then that's just a consideration. That was it.
But
Go ahead.
To the chair, but just imagine the difficult and the headache that will be for the staff and the hotel to keep tracking of those special events and how they're going to report to our city. I think it's a tremendous headache that we don't want to take on.
Oh, okay. Just addressing what you said, friendly response, is that we just have to ensure that these hotel owners, we have to have a way to audit their occupancy, make sure that we audit what they're doing so that we know that we're being guaranteed that amount of money being paid to us in the form of TOT. Because if it's like self-reporting, come on, guys, somebody's gonna not report that stuff, and we're gonna have issues with that. So I think we have to have a mechanism to ensure that we have, access to the to the books or something, just so that we could make sure that we. Maybe you're gonna help with that idea on how to do that. But go ahead.
To the chair. My question is, how does this apply to short-term rentals?
That's a discretion that you have as council, whether or not you want to extend it to that. Some jurisdictions do, some jurisdictions separate that. So it's really a question for you all.
I think we should do it on both.
All right, so.
Yeah, this is just a presentation to give some council some direction. The city manager and I have been working on the possibilities of bringing before you, probably in July, a proposed TOT tax increase, and we can answer some of those questions at that point. And talk about possibly including. It's up to the council to decide whether or not you want to include short-term rentals.
My question to you is, what's our deadline to get it onto the ballot?
July 14th.
July 14th.
Yeah, that'll be the last council meeting we can do it. We have to have 88 days prior to the November election.
So can you bring us something before
I'm already working
our
on it.
deadline? Okay, that way if we need to tweak it a little bit, we can, and you can bring it back.
We can. We'll have to work with the city manager. It'll have to be probably the second meeting in June.
Thank you.
I'm going to give the mic to my council colleague, but did you guys already study the exact percentage that would be suggested as to what the market will bear, or is it?
Yes, so we have all the information. This was just an update on this issue here as we move forward with the questions that were asked today. Myself and Dave and the staff will prepare a report for council to review before we bring it for vote. We have looked into the short-term rentals. We have looked at the the item you spoke about regarding raising the percentage of 1 or 2 during events. We looked at the auditing, so there's still a lot of research to do. I would just ask that this council doesn't make any decisions tonight, hearing it for the first time. Let me do my research and bring back to council a full comprehensive report to actually study, review, and approve if wanted.
Go ahead.
My question was already answered.
Just for the council's edification, later on the agenda, there is a motion under the city manager consent to approve funding for some poll work. The city's going to hire a consultant to do some pollster work to see what is the appetite for a TOT tax increase.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All right. Let's move on to the next item. The next item is a presentation by Captain Chris Port on Air 13.
Excuse me? I have some paperwork for the city attorney.
You have to wait until the public comment, okay?
How long will that take?
About 10 minutes.
All right.
Just.
Take your time.
Go ahead. Go ahead, yes.
Ready? All right. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, elected officials, and the rest of City Council. I'm here to discuss our airship, Air 13, which is a fixed-wing aircraft. Essentially here to discuss an overview of where our air program is, what we're planning for, and some of our long-term goals. As you know, back in 2023, we purchased a fixed-wing aircraft because we were starting to look into dealing with an aging helicopter that we'd be using for the last 10 or 15 years that was going to cost more money to maintain than it was worth. So at that point, we pivoted to a fixed wing with the expectation of it being more cost-effective, less noise over our community, and still providing the same service. And that's where we're at today, is trying to figure out to make sure that we're on task with that. Our overview of our mission is to provide real-time and situational information, provide a unique platform for local and regional use, monitor incidents in the region, special events such as what we have going on over in Inglewood pretty much every weekend and during the week, and providing a constant advantage for our staff and community to stay safe within our community. Really what we wanted to know is if we were going to be able to provide that same service that we were providing now with the fixed wing as opposed to a helicopter, and how advantageous it was. So we drilled down on some of the major things that we normally do, the nuts and bolts of the police department and what we do, and I'm happy to report to you, I believe we're still on the right track. And so with that, I have a couple slides I wanted to show you and a couple videos, a video of just some of the work that this airship's out doing and what it's capable of doing. So we'll start with everyone's favorites, pursuits. This pursuit was actually started in LA area. It was a narcotics investigation that led detectives on a pursuit that actually ended out in Moreno Valley. As you can see, that vehicle careens with another vehicle. This is in the middle of the night, going into an off-beaten path in Moreno Valley. This is where this ultimately ended. But as you can see, this vehicle was traveling over 100 miles an hour. The airship was able to hang on to it. There's a backcountry road and a little farm area back here. This car overshoots, crashes, blows up a transformer, and then as you see, these two enthusiastic individuals then bail from the car and start running through backyards. This area, if you're familiar with it, it's very dark, especially in the middle of the night, and these two individuals right here were also wanted on previous narcotics and weapons charges. The reason they were running the way they were is that back of the trunk had 60 pounds of methamphetamine in the trunk and two or three different firearms. These two would not have been taken into custody without the help of our airship being overhead to identify these two walking around the middle of the field and directing detectives to take them into custody. So that's one of the platforms that we normally perform on and how we do business, and so it's met the criteria for that as well. Containers and perimeters. What you're looking at is what our TFO, our tactical flight officer, sees from the back seat of our aircraft. Before, when you're working a perimeter or containments, You're sitting side by side with the pilot, and you're just looking out the window from about 500 feet off the air, and you're putting out that information. This is from 4,000 feet up in the air. As you can see, there's a map overlay. So when you're looking at large containments, perimeters within our city, different areas that we may not be familiar with, this information is gold to the people on the ground. And it really keeps our officers safe, and it keeps the community safe wherever we're operating. So that's kind of a bird's eye view of what our pilot and our TFOs are looking at, why they're up in the airship. And then we move to seizures, because we work some narcotics as well. To the left, you have 125 kilos of cocaine that was tracked using our airship from various locations around LA County, ultimately stopped in Riverside County. And to the right is 800 and I believe 15 pounds of methamphetamine. Now, just to put this in perspective, if you've ever been to our police station, which I know most of you have, but for those of you who haven't, that's looking from the second floor, looking down into a parking spot. Those are parking spots. So those are usually full with cars, and that's the amount of narcotics that was recovered by our narcotics team using this aircraft to track this individual to several locations and public storage locations around the county. So, as we all know, you don't buy narcotics and or stolen property with hopes and dreams. I've tried, it doesn't work. You have to use cash. And so when we come through and doing these investigations with the airship, we're able to locate different houses, different businesses that are involved in this illicit behavior. As you can see, K9 Cali to the left alerted this location. Quick segue, June 18th, President's Council, K9 dinner. You can come meet K9 Cali here and the rest of the Hawthorne Hounds and everybody else. It's a great foundation. It's one of the longest running programs in the South Bay, if not the state. So if you guys in this room have an opportunity, everybody watching at home, K9 dinner, June 18th, Memorial Center. You got it, sir. To the right, separate seizure of cash, but this goes hand in hand with these illicit activities, and a lot of this stuff is moving constantly in some pretty unique ways. And so with our airship, we're able to stay on top of these things and locate and identify the different spots where this stuff is moving. Funding. This is a pretty expensive sport. We've had some long-standing networking relationships with DA task force that we have officers that participate with. We have a couple grants that we use, Operation Stone Garden. This council's passed a few times in the past where they spend about 20 to 30% of our operating cost. They offset that for us. Last week we had Mike Matson in the last meeting discussing LA Impact. They're another narcotics investigation group that as we participate with them, we can work ourselves into asset forfeiture funds that allow us to offset the cost of running this airship, as long as with our own PD budget. Staffing and scheduling. Right now, we're running one full-time pilot and one part-time pilot who's a civilian. We have 5 part-time tactical flight officers, currently flying 2 to 3 times a week. We're trying to work into a more robust scheduling, but what's next for the airship, and what I really want to hit on is the airship is really just a tool that's attached to our real-time information center, and that was really the long-term goal of our organization, our chief of police, and what we're doing. And what it does is when it's in the fold with our information center, it's really a sight to behold, and it does so much, and it really pushes where we're trying to go with regionalization of our real-time information center so we can run that in a more robust schedule for 24/7. We have 2 agencies that are already stepping up to on board with us with Hermosa Beach and El Segundo. We have other agencies that are looking to be involved as well, and that buy-in is what's going to offset future costs for our airship, but the regionalization use for it and just the coverage of not only our city, but the surrounding area as well. We look forward to FIFA, which is next on deck. We've scheduled the plane to be up on every match that's going to be in the area. And we really look at that to be a kickoff of how we're going to shine using our airship in the area with some of our other partners in the area to see how it works moving forward for the NFL next year and then the Olympics after that. So this is going to be a dress rehearsal for us using our airship as a tool along with everything else we do, and will allow us to keep our culture of people looking at our city and organization, wondering how we're doing the things that we're doing with what we do. So I appreciate your time, and with that, I will take any of your questions.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain Ford. Excellent presentation. And it is good because, for example, that pursuit, right? the perpetrator doesn't know the airplane is up because it's almost like 6,000 feet high, right? So if it was the helicopter, you know, there was all that noise.
It's a
right?
change in culture because
Yeah.
before, you know, you would hear a helicopter and usually you would know you're being followed. You'd see the spotlight. And even when we're chasing people through yards, that would cause them to hide because you have a airship drilling down over the top of you. With this, we've watched people do things for quite a while because they have no idea that we're up and overhead. And it really allows us to move into the area systematically. And again, we're putting our officer safety and the community safety at the forefront of those types of things. So that's really what it works out for the best for.
And definitely the community say thank you, because the airship was noisy.
Right. When I say you guys don't hear about the new airship, you really don't hear about it because you
Yeah,
just don't hear it. And that's, we used to get calls, you know, you guys want to know, hey, I'm getting calls from people in the community. The airship's overhead, it's making a lot of noise. What's going on? And you don't get that anymore.
And we thank you because, you know, this shows, you know, how the investment pays off, right? Because all these seizures, you know, with the cocaine and amphetamine, so that's a tremendous take out of the streets. So you save lives, in a sense, you know, like 800 pounds.
Statistically, some of that's going to have to hit our city at somehow, some way. So
Exactly, yeah.
to be out on the forefront of it and really being first contact to really keep our community safe is at the forefront of this mission.
So it's prevention. So we prevent things to happen. So I appreciate that and thank you for everything. And later on, I'll talk to you about the matter of valor. Thanks. And thanks for that, June 18.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Like everybody's been saying, like people don't know that there's a plane way up there. You know, like all those helicopter blades and here and all that stuff. It's just, I think it's exponentially stronger tool for us to be able to do all these chases and follow like all the bad guys throughout our city, or even help with the mutual aid. But
No, it really does. It adds layers for us. We can fly high enough to where we're out of the way of a helicopter, and then there's another layer of drones underneath that, and we've worked all three at the same time at incidents, and it's just another layer for us to keep everybody safe.
and the equipment that's, you know, allows us to be able to track from up there is just, you know, beautiful. So thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation. Good.
To the chair.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It definitely sends a message to the criminals, don't bring it in Hawthorne. So we appreciate you.
You got it.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a good evening.
We're going to take a brief 5-minute recess. It has to be 5 minutes, guys. Okay? Brief 5-minute recess. before I hit the gavel, let's just try to make it through these next items. Of course, anybody who needs to make a comment will, but just to be mindful of make whatever statements you have to efficiently, including myself and everybody here. All right. This meeting is back in session at 7:29. Thank you to Captain Chris Port for his report on Air 13. And before that, we had a discussion on the long-term financial forecast presentation of the financial forecast of TOT rates. And before that, we have the South Bay City's Councils of Governments discuss their findings on REAP 2.0 commercial redevelopment study. Just to have a brief recap. So now, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, please proceed with item 4, Municipal EV Fleet Charging Partnership at the Del Air Community Resilience Hub. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. If we can get Pastor Jefferson to come up. He has a PowerPoint presentation that he's going to share with us this evening and discuss some of the community partnership opportunities that we have with him.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council and fellow residents of Hawthorne. I'm John L. Jefferson. I am the CEO of the Del Air Community Development Corporation, and we have been uniquely positioned by the Department of Energy, the California Energy Commission, Southern California Edison, to work and build on our site a resilient hub for the community. We're going to be installing a 250 to 300 kilowatt system, which will consist of panels on the church, raised panels in our parking lot, and we will have battery backup systems with 3 level 3 charging and 1 level 1 charging system. We're asking the City Council to engage in a memorandum of understanding that will use our 3 supercharge stations as off-site chargers for the city. This will help add to the already existing structure that is coming and provide additional support in helping the city to meet its goal, increasing the number of EV charging stations in our community. The CDC will work alongside with the City of Hawthorne to help build a community and all the sub-regions with more livable, more equitable, and more economic dynamics. Why? We are uniquely positioned. Hawthorne has already established a climate and energy goals. The resident needs visible and local community faces and implementation. We have a lot of people coming from the outside trying to sell us solar, but what if we have our own entity within our community that's going to address the needs of our community, moderate to low income, as well as our senior citizens? We're in this position because we were selected by the Department of Energy because of the number of families that we serve on a weekly basis in our community, and so we have been partnering with them. We're working with Village Solutions Foundation, Southern California Edison, the Grid Alternative, Metro, and various entities have come together to support this work and this impact. This is a model that is going to be displayed here in Hawthorne for other communities and other churches to follow the model to show this partnership between community and also civil government. By the church and the CDC aligning with the climate action plans priority, Del Air CDC will model and serve as a critical community partner, helping translate citywide climate objectives into the tangible neighborhoods, levels, and outcomes are to benefit our residents and the congregants and the broader community. We're constantly educating our community on the energy services that are available to them through Southern California Edison. Who is Del Air CDC in its effort? It is a trusted institution rooted in the city of Hawthorne. We have relationships. We have connected with not only just our congregants, but also with our city, with the state, as well as the federal government. Key thing, trusted relationships, and we have the capability of expanding this work. What's going to be included in this initiative is EV charging station, clean energy infrastructure, resilient planning, community education, energy ambassadors engagement, and stakeholder partnership. What's going to happen in the city of Hawthorne when all the power go out? Del Air CDC with the battery backups will be there to support those individuals that have need of medical devices. You'll be able to charge your phones and computers and laptops there. You will be able to come to the Resilience Center for a cooling station. All of these things are being made possible through this project that we're doing. When I started this, it started out as just a little bitty small project, just putting solar panels on top of the church and a few backup batteries. But when I talked with the energy consultants from the Department of Energy and PCEP, I found out that we could do a lot more. And we will be the first church of our kind and CDC of our kind when we establish this relationship with the city of Hawthorne. Then others will be able to model and practice what we're doing. And so we're here to support and ask the support of the city council to sign this memorandum of understanding with us. Our community will be better. Our community will be more energy efficient. We will help residents in our city understand the cost-saving factors and opportunities that are out there for them, and we will create an inclusive environment for the pathway so that we can be ready for 2045 as initiative by the state. Why does this matter? Because a lot of people in our community are underserved. A lot of people in our community do not know about the opportunities for energy. When the Department of Energy did its survey, it looked at most black and brown communities. We're at the bottom of the table. And so now by us creating this entity, we will help raise up education and information for families and residents within our city. We're going to reduce waste, and we're going to lower the cost. Energy efficiency is the goal, community-based outreach. That means people that you know are going to be helping you do a better job in servicing your community and providing energy. We value this partnership with our city. We value because it's going to strengthen our collaboration with others as we go forward with this work. We're creating visibility within our community, supporting our neighborhood, and supporting the city to meet its goal for the energy as well as its climate changes. It is going to be a model that can be reciprocated and duplicated throughout Southern California. We have the support of our county supervisors, Holly Mitchell, and we're looking also for the support of the Hawthorne City Council. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Through the chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Pastor, for your presentation. Yes, climate and energy is very important to our city because you know that we belong to the Clean Power Alliance, right? That provide energy to Hawthorne at 100% green, right? Everything comes from renewable energy. So we not use fossil fuel to electrify our community. It is very important, like you said, the black and brown community needs these kind of initiatives. My question to you, because the Department of Energy has been cutting all the projects that is dealing with renewable energy because our president does not believe in renewable and even have cut all the subsidies and the rebates for the solar panels. So is this project has been funding or is still in the process of being funding?
So we're in the process of being funded because we fall under the grandfather clause. We started last year before President Trump began to make all of those cuts. So we have until, I think it's January of 2027, not January, but July of 2027. We have to have at least 5% of our project done by July. Well, not July. This year, is July this year? July is this year. That means we have to purchase the panels. That's going to get us in that 5%, so that we will be able to receive the tax rebates.
And I, you know, I'm all in favor in partnerships, right? But you understand that also that, you know, our city, we are going to do EV charges in a lot of our parks and city facilities. It is in a project that is coming to fruition soon. So when you're talking about a memorandum of understanding, because you mentioned something about our city vehicles go charge at your station. That's my understanding that you said that?
Yes.
Okay, so that might be difficult because if we have our own chargers, right? So we know that the city vehicle is not going to be charged on your facilities. But for the residents, I think it's a great benefit to our residents. So that's potentially is a good thing. So I would say, memorandum of understanding is a very strong language for us to give you. Maybe a lot of support to support your project, but we cannot commit that our vehicle is going to be charged in your facility.
So
You see the difference?
I see the difference,
Yeah.
but I want you to understand now, again, is the city going to have backup batteries at all of their EV stations?
Yeah, we already have some.
You already have them
Yeah, at the Memorial Center.
at the Memorial Center?
Okay, so Juan, you can speak about that, please.
Well, maybe I'll let our Public Works Director speak on that. I think it's somewhat conflicting. I would like to know, would we be paying for the charging? How would it work, our vehicles driving to the church and leaving them there overnight during the day, how that would work? So there's multiple items that I would need clarity on, and I'm not sure if Akbar, you're available to answer what we're doing with our new generators we have at the Memorial Center, as Councilmember Montero mentioned, and what we're doing as far as backup charging systems. I do know last meeting, if you remember, we did have an outage, and our diesels cut back on. So I can't imagine that we would not have backup to our charging system. But I'll let our expert Akbar Faroukhi speak on that, please.
Mr. City Manager, before Akbar speaks, I think, would you like to say something? Because I know you've kind of been, you brought this item forth, and then maybe he can address anything you say
Sure.
in addition to what Pastor has said.
Ideally, what I think, and I don't know if this is the appropriate method to go about this one, or is it a directive, but ideally, I think a more in-depth conversation needs to take place with the staff so we can get a clearer understanding of how we can work together. Because I think that his program is a very good program. If we could capitalize on what he's doing, support him in what he's doing to meet our goals, but I don't think we're going to be able to solve that tonight. Is that a directive, or can we say that in this presentation to ask staff to go back and collaborate and come back with some suggestions?
This is just a moment for presentation. I would come back onto council directives and provide, and that way you can vote on it and see if you have the support.
That's in the.
Akbar should speak.
No, I want to
Okay.
No.
Wait.
To the chair,
Let's, Akbar, just tell us what you're,
talk about our project.
there's a conversation to be had. Can you just give us your initial, what do we have in play?
Good evening, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This is good idea for the resident that area. And the city we are planning right now, almost we planning to put EV charger. We got from Energy and we got from Edison. We almost have, we're going to put 15 charger in Memorial Center. Most of our park we're going to cover. And the new city yard and new senior center, we are installing solar and we are installing EV charger. And for most of our car right now, our emergency industry department equipment car, they are not electrical yet. We are, according to the requirements from this year, we need to purchase 50% electrical and 50% here. Right now, this only few passenger car we are for employee, they are electrical, and we have charger in the city yard and we have charger in the park, Grevilla Park, we charging those car. I think it's good idea for the Del Air area, for the residential. If they need any help, I meet with them few months ago, we talk about that, and I prepare everything for them, what we doing, and this is good idea for Del Air area. It's for resident, for Inglewood commercial building. For us is because of the employee, they bring the car to work. It's hard to drive like 10 minutes, 5 minutes to there and charge it and come back to work. How do we want to provide them a shuttle to take them where they bring them back? This is the procedure for us. It's not close to our city facility yard or is not close to our senior center. We can meet with them, we can talk about here, we can have to see what can we have partner for our resident to building safety and to notify the people, putting on our website to help them as much as we can.
Thank you.
Any question?
Look, I just think of this, anytime, this whole, I've been, not that I've been suspicious of this whole EV charging thing and, the solar panel. I mean, I always look at the negative, but I also look at the positive. Obviously, there was supposed to be a lot of rebates if you went solar powered and, and that just didn't really, somehow the state of California ended up like backing off on those rebates and those benefits to the community. Everybody wants to go electrical vehicles, but there's not enough chargers to be able to make it across, the state sometimes, since they're all crowded, and sometimes locally within your municipality, there's not enough. So I think this is a great, suggestion on your part, a great project on your part. I think there's just still work to be done, discussions to be had, and it's good. I think it's good.
One of our major projects that we were trying to create, but we got bumped by the administration, is to create a community resilience center. That means we would have had enough power generated on the church campus to cover the entire North Hawthorne area. We had to trim down. We still have enough power, I think, to cover at least 5 or 6 block radius. Once the project is completed, we'll have enough power to cover at least 5 to 6 block radius. I think we have enough power to cover that area. So this will be the only place in our city where people will be able to come and get help and support in the time of a national disaster. I'm forward thinking, right? If we can model within our faith communities and to create these resilient centers to support our community, that's gold. We're not trying to sell, we're just trying to create a space where people can continue to maintain a standard of living in the event of.
No,
through the chair, Pastor, we understand, and that is a great idea, because we want to create, we call it microgrid. So what you're going to create at the Delaware Baptist Church is a microgrid if the power fail or we have a natural disaster like earthquake or something. So people can depend on that microgrid to produce power. So that is a fantastic idea, because that is what, for example, the Clean Power Alliance, we've been fighting with Edison, because Edison do not want the microgrids, because they want to be the power to deliver all the energy to the people. Even with the Power Alliance, we have to depend on Edison to deliver the energy. But with this microgrid, and that is what the envision is, to create microgrids in different neighborhoods that be able to power that community independently from Edison. And what you're doing is an innovative and a great idea, and I support you 100% on that. And continue to do it, because I think it will be needed in the near future. And it is important for us to have in our community. So I support that 100%. The only thing that we a little bit fuzzy is about this memorandum of understanding, because when we do a memorandum of understanding, the city will be committed to something that maybe we're not there yet, right? Because we already have our own plans, our own projects, so we need to continue this conversation with Akbar and Vaughn to see what can we support you, because it's a great idea for that area, Delaware and North Hawthorne, because in the event of a disaster, we need this microgrid to be functional. And you are taking one step, and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. And whether there's a MOU or some other type, form of agreement between us and either, vouching for you as a great community member, or whatever it is. It's
I'm not a great I'm just
no,
a
but
community member who's thinking about
Yes.
how do we improve our community.
So yes, this is good. So I think conversations still need to be had, and then we'll determine what the best path forward, so it'll all work out.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Johnson.
Right.
Thank you, council. Thank you, mayor. Thank you. We'll continue the conversation.
Thank you. Great community member. He didn't like that. He is. Medal of Valor ceremony recognition, Councilor Montero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone at home. Thank you. Actually, I think our chief is upstate, right?
He is at a conference out of town about the next couple of days.
Yeah, so Chief Port is there. But I want to read this because it's very important for us to celebrate what our Hawthorne Police Department has been done. And it's a tremendous achievement for all these awards that they received last week. So I'm going to read something because I think people should know about this, okay? So tonight, we have the privilege to recognize the extraordinary work of our office from the Hawthorne Police Department, who had demonstrated courage, professionalism, and life-saving skills in the most critical moment. Last Thursday, 11 officers were honored at the South Bay Medal Value Award, with 10 of those awards specifically recognizing life-saving action that went far beyond the normal call of duty. These actions include rapid response under pressure, applying tourniquets to stop severe bleeding, administering Narcan during opioid overdose, and performing CPR and directly saving lives. In many cases, officers were recognized more than once, reflecting multiple incidents where they quickly thinking and training made the difference between life and death. Next Tuesday, 16 additional officers will be honored at the California EMSA Award, a state recognized that highlights the very best of emergency medical response across California. When you step back, the scale of this achievement is remarkable. 14 individual officers receiving a total of 27 awards from 2 highly prestigious award programs. For an agency of a few than 100 officers, this level of statewide and regional recognition speaks volume about our agency. Their professionalism, their training, their commitment to the department. This recognition also reflects the reality that our office are not just law enforcement. They are often first responders in a true life or death medical emergency. On behalf of the city, I want to sincerely thank each office being recognized in the state, as well as the leadership of the department for the culture of readiness and service that makes outcomes like this possible. Again, 16 officers, 27 awards. These officers are saving lives every single day. So my hat goes off to your department, Captain, and relay that to all your officers, and we want to see them here next time. Take a big picture with all those 16 officers.
I will definitely make a point because it will be in Napa, so we need to make sure we go there and support them.
All right.
That's where their awards are at.
So thank you again, and all the office face right over here. Medal of Valor. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, speak because you were there with me.
It was actually a very proud moment for us and our city to see so many of our officers be awarded, not just once, twice. Some of them, I think even a few of them got 3 awards. They got tired of calling Hawthorne. It's like, is this a Hawthorne event? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And it was really good to see our officers. And there's a couple of things that are involved in that. It's the fact that we think outside of the box here in our city. We don't just show up on the scene and be a police officer. Our police officers realized a long time ago they're the first ones on the scene. And a lot of times that's the difference between life and death long before the paramedics ever get on the scene. And so our officers took the initiative to become CPR certified paramedics and different things so that when they get on the scene, once the scene, even sometimes I heard the scene wasn't even secure and they're out there saving lives. It's like a battle zone and they're saving lives. And I was a paramedic in the military, and you weren't allowed to go into the zone until it was cleared for you to go. As a medic, my life was more important than going into the fray of the fire. That was everybody else's job. They were supposed to clear it. Well, that could take minutes to, half an hour to an hour. Well, that person's already bled out by then. And our police officers in our police department realized that. And taking the initiative and getting trained and being life-saving, and the stories that I hear of the lives that they saved, and actually having a physician on staff. We got a doc on staff, so this is crazy. I love it. It's definitely thinking outside of the box. So thank you guys very much.
Got it.
Very proud to serve you.
Thank you. All right. Guidelines for communications.
Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.3, all remarks should be addressed to the City Council as a body and not to any individual council member. During public comments, speakers shall have 3 minutes to state their business. The Brown Act prohibits the City Council from providing a detailed response or acting upon any items not contained on the agenda. The governing bodies of the body shall have the discretion at the close of public comments to refer any remarks to the City Manager for study, investigation, report, and/or recommendation.
Okay, I only have one card, Ms. Diana. Are there more cards, or is it just? All right, I have one card right now. Pat Donaldson, please.
Good evening, Mayor, excuse me, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, everyone in the audience. Patricia Donaldson, President CEO of the Hawthorne Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, everyone, for attending the Business Expo. I can't tell you how much it meant to all of us. The most important thing to me was making sure that the vendors were taken care of and that the attendees were happy also. So I thank everyone for that. And then on September 2nd at 9 a.m., we'll be giving out backpacks to Cornbloom Elementary School. So we do need your help with backpacks and everything that goes inside of it for the children. Last year we gave out 200. We're hoping to give out 200 plus this year. And then September 28th is our golf tournament, and that's going to be at Rio Hondo. And already we have a lot of businesses that are sponsoring the event. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any more cards, Ms. Diana? All right. Anybody else wishing to speak? Form a line. Please state your name, if you can, address if you would like to, and speak into the mic, please.
Hi, I'm Jen. I live on the Ramona Tract. Good evening, City Council, Mayor Vargas, city workers, and neighbors. My name is Jen. I love living in Hawthorne, and I thank each and every one of you for being here. Thank you, City Council and Mayor, for your decades of care and dedication to the city of Hawthorne. I am taking this opportunity to respectfully offer the City Council and Mayor constructive feedback. There are a few things I wish were handled differently last meeting. I am not an authority on the matter, but this is the perspective of one of your concerned constituents for what it's worth. I know I'm not supposed to address everyone individually, but that's literally what I did. So I don't know, I'm gonna try to reword this, but Council Member Angie Reyes English, firefighters do more than fight fires. The methyl methacrylate crisis and at the GKN aerospace plant in Garden Grove and the East LA oil spill over the weekend both required massive fire personnel and resource mobilization. It is not uncommon for neighboring fire departments to be equipped to share resources while also covering their own jurisdictions. Firefighters also provide 24/7 emergency medical services to the community, which is a dangerous and traumatizing job, which is why I feel they deserve more tact when you question their budget as an elected official. I know equipment maintenance is also expensive, but I'm not an expert on firefighting budgets. I remember you said you would talk more about your specific concerns, and I'm looking forward to hearing them. Thank you. As for the exchange that occurred after discussing the budget, I wish we wouldn't allow these types of conversations to drag. Council Member Montero, thank you for giving a brief, concerned response that acknowledged the crux of the issue while allowing for grace. Councilmember Johnson, I would have preferred if you took the latter part of the conversation offline. Thank you. Councilmember Manny, I can relate to your response. Sometimes we need to step away. In your position, walking away from confrontation does not instill confidence to those who are outsiders to the situation. Thank you for coming back. There is no way for me to know what was true from that exchange, but I can see how adored your Women's and Mother's Day events are by the community. Thank you. Mayor Vargas, the most important thing to me is that you mainly lead by example. Thank you. As for any candidate, I am apt to vote for someone who practices temperance in the interest of respecting people's time. Thank you for your time and for considering this.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? If not, oral communication is closed, so ordered. Okay, let's go through this agenda. We have six items. City clerk's consent calendar, please.
Item number 6, the Finance Director requests approval of the warrants. Item number 7, approval of waiver of full readings of resolutions and ordinances on Tuesday, May 26, 2026 agenda. Item 8, resolution number 8596, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, declaring its intention to levy weed abatement assessments and setting a hearing date on June 9th, 2026 at 6 p.m. for such proposed assessments. Item 9, resolution number 8603, approving an amendment to the agreement between Hinderleiter, Delamas and Associates, HDL, for property tax consulting audit services. Item 10, resolution number 8604, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, consenting to the assignment of the through the fence agreement and concession agreement for aviation fueling operations from 3507 JNA LLC to 3507 Jack Northrop Owner LLC from the sale of the property located at 3507 Jack Northrop Avenue, Hawthorne, California, 90250. Item 11, resolution number 8605, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, declaring its intention to levy street lighting assessments for fiscal year 2026-2027 and setting Tuesday, June 9th, 2026 at 6 o'clock p.m. as the time and date of a public hearing for adoption.
I move. Please vote.
Okay, the votes are in. The vote reflects mayor and council voting yes.
Thank you, ma'am. The ordinances, please, can you read it?
Okay, item 12, now is the time and place for a public hearing and introduction of ordinance 2262, first reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, amending the city zoning map to add 4457 West 120th Street, APNs 4044-018-040 and 041 to the housing overlay and making a finding of exemption in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act in connection therewith. No written communications were received.
Is there any public comment on this topic? If not, I'll declare public comment on this item close ordered. I make a motion.
It was actually a public hearing. You would close the public hearing.
Oh, okay. Ay, perdón. Yeah, okay, I'll declare the public hearing closed. So ordered. Thank you, sir. There's a motion to introduce by Councilmember Montero. Thank you, sir. Our next item is a bid opening. Madam Clerk, item 13, please.
Item 13, now is the time and place to declare publicly received sealed bids for Hawthorne Municipal Airport Rehabilitate Taxiway NNS Lighting, Rehabilitate Runway 7/25, Lighting, Rehabilitate Airfield Vault, Replace Airfield Signs, and Install Airport Beacon. project number 2209. There were 5 bids received. All were accompanied by bidder's bonds. The prices are as follows. Rural Electric, $3,961,830.80. Aldridge Electric, $5,319,309.05. Belco Elecnor, $4,189,899. Kaufman Specialties Inc., $3,565,000. Velutini Corporation DBA Royal Electric, $3,168,613.
I move to refer the bids to staff for study and recommendation.
Second.
Please vote.
Okay, the votes are in. And the vote reflects mayor and council voting yes.
Okay. There's no public hearings at this time, and there are no general matter items at this time. So next we have the city manager's consent calendar. Madam Clerk, can you go ahead and read 14 through 24?
Item 14, approval of professional services agreement with FM3 Research for transient occupancy tax, TOT, rate increase research and strategic consulting. Item 15, progress payment number 2 in the amount of $132,804.30 due to Martinez Landscape Company, Inc. for the Alley Improvement Project, Project 25-08. Item 16, third amendment to the consultant agreement for construction administration and construction observation services, third amendment between the City of Hawthorne City and CNS Engineers, Inc. consultant. Item 17, digital billboards, Project 2612, reject of bids. Item 18, award of contract for Manita Garden Mobility Improvements, Project 22-08. Item 19, approval of progress payment to Los Angeles Neighborhood Land Trust for Zella Davis Park project services. Item 20, approval of a payment to Security Aviation in the amount of $104,000, 103.75 to complete and secure the materials and equipment needed to complete the scheduled engine overhaul for the Hawthorne Police Department's fixed-wing aircraft, Air 113. Item 21, agreement for funding administration services for federally funded projects with Advanced Avant-Garde Corporation. Item 22, progress payment number 2 in the amount of $365,740.20 due to Martinez Landscape Company, Inc. of Silmar, California for general maintenance, Project 22-05. Item 23, South Bay Regional Project Communications Authority, SBRPCA invoices, billed out on delivered police vehicles. Item 24, award of contract for Hawthorne Housing Rehabilitation 2026, Phase 2, Project 26-11. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the city manager's consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve items 14 to 30 through 24.
I make a motion on all items.
Second.
Please vote.
Alex Montero,
Yeah,
voting?
just can you hit it again? Just hit it again. Diana, it shows.
Okay, the votes are in. And the vote reflects mayor and council voting yes.
All right, thank you. There are no items on the city attorney's consent calendar at this time. There's no discussion items at this time. So we'll move on to the elected officials' reports. Anything from the city clerk's office?
Nothing.
Okay. Councilor Montero?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, good evening, everyone. Great meeting, great presentations. Thank you to all of those who presented. It was fantastic. I just wanted to say again, congratulations to the Hawthorne Police Department. 16 officers receiving rewards is fantastic. So thank you again for all the service. Also, congratulations to our media community department, right? Communication and media. They received the Tally Award for outstanding communication and media effort. So congratulations to the media communication downstairs. So also, yesterday was the 26th Memorial Day Remembers went well. Thank you for the VFW Post 2075, the Women Auxiliary, and the Medical Legion Post 314 for their hospitality and service. Our men and women who sacrificed their lives for our freedom will never be forgotten. Carrie Jones said, "The secret of happiness is freedom. The secret of freedom is courage." So think about that, okay? Because a lot of people have passed away, millions of them. And thank you, Vaughn and the staff, for the the restoration of the memorial service right there. Those plaques, they look pretty good. Thank you for that. Again, I want to thank the South Bay COG for the commercial redevelopment study, because it's just a study to give us a framework for the future. Also, Vaughn, Akbar, and myself has been in negotiation with Inglewood about proposed transit project that will involve the Hawthorne Boulevard and 111th Street to improve traffic flow during the Olympic 28. So more to come soon. This month, I attend the Clean Power Alliance, the regular board meeting and executive committee. Topics was the election for the new chair and the executive committee and board members. And we reviewed proposed $1 billion budget for 26-27. Attended the South Bay COG board meeting, steering committee and the transportation committee, and the South Bay COG Housing Trust. That was the second meeting, and one of the projects was the Hawthorne project. The Sanitation District Board meeting was, we met, but we voted to postpone the rate increase until June 3rd, because one of the cities voted no, so we didn't get the 2/3 majority of votes, so we have to go do another special meeting on June 3rd to get the rate increase for the sanitation, for the sewage, because we need that, they need that increase. So I attend also the Los Angeles County Investor Control Board. If you have any problems with the mosquitoes or bees, you just call the Los Angeles County West Vector Control District, okay? So just in case you have problems with the mosquitoes or bees. The polling station, there is an election for June 2nd. We have Hawthorne Memorial Center, Venus Rooms, there is a poll there. Centennial Bible Church on 4475 West 137th Street in Hawthorne is a polling station. The Courtyard Marriott right here across City Hall is also a polling station. And also the Holly Glen Elementary School is also a polling station. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 polling stations, and the polling stations are open. So right there on Memorial Center, people start voting already. Again, I want to say thank you to all the staff, and Vaughn, thank you for the fantastic accomplishment for the month. It's a lot of work that you guys do every day, and it's fantastic. It's reflect the commitment and the leadership. So thank you for everything you do, and thank you our city attorney, and welcome our new deputy city attorney over there. Thank you, and congratulations on your wedding. So we wish you very much success. Thank you. That's all for now.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Katrina Manning.
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, want to wish you congratulations on your nuptials. Best of luck to you, and congratulations. Also, I had an opportunity to attend with our Assembly member, Tina McKinnon, an event called Pink Pump by the organization called Special Needs Network. And that organization, they support kids that have special needs. And so we had a great time celebrating that. Also, I had an opportunity to go to a couple of our board meetings. One in particular is that I sit on an advisory board for LAWA. And one of the things that we talk about almost every meeting is for folks to actually use the People Mover to go to the airport. So the location, I believe, is on Aviation, off of Imperial. They've built a whole new facility for people to take the transportation from there to go into the airport. And I guess I need to just keep pushing it, because the more we talk about it, people know about it and maybe use that, because the airport is so full and packed. And I recently went there and it took me like an hour just sitting on a ramp just to get around to like Terminal 1. And so I know that as events come, it's going to get even busier trying to take a car into the airport, whether you're going departure or arriving. Also, I attended the board meeting for the Watershed Conservancy, Baldwin Hills Watershed Conservancy, and I'm proud to say that I was part of the team that approved a $1.4 million grant for the Maggie Hathaway golf course at Jesse Owens Park. So it was a resilient climate grant. And so if you have an opportunity, make sure you go out there and take a look at what they're doing at the Jesse Owens Park. And that's, I believe, on Western and Century Boulevard. Also, I had an opportunity on May 18th to attend court with our city attorney on the pending mall litigations. And I'm happy to report that demolition is scheduled for late June or early July. And so we're right on schedule for that to happen. So I'm excited. So, you know, we're going to have a party when that actually starts. So we all can look forward to that. And that's it for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Hi, everyone. It was a busy month for us this month, the past couple of weeks. I had the privilege of being in the Torrance Armed Forces Day Parade, and it was really nice to see our police officers out there volunteering to help make sure the parade was safe, and it was very heartwarming to see the community come out and recognize the veterans. It was very sad to see a lot of people standing out there with just pictures of their family members that are no longer with us. So as we remembered Memorial Day yesterday, it was heart-wrenching, but I was able to be at the memorial service with Montero. And you'd be happy to know this, Mayor. You'd be happy to know this. He was on the hunt for a commission, for somebody to be on the Veterans Commission, and we were over there. She looks good, he looks good, let's go talk to them, you know. Yeah. So we were on the hunt, and we may have found some for you.
Good. Awesome.
So that's good, because we do want to keep our Veterans Affairs Commission, because we're the only city in the local South Bay that actually has a Veterans Affairs Commission, so we want to keep that. And then again, the monument was beautiful, Vaughn. Thank you for everything that you did. And you know, typical as a city council, you can never make us happy. A waterfall would have been nice. Thank you very much. No, I'm just kidding. Somebody did say that, so I said I would say it, but that would be too expensive. I mean, it was beautiful. I was waiting for the water to be turned on. It was so beautiful, and the rocks were gorgeous. And then somebody else made a comment, well, where's space for us? I'm like, too late. You know, it's not coming. Anyway, I want to, this is a thank you from one of my neighbors to Lieutenant Yoshida, who helped. She was the watch commander on duty when his truck was stolen. and they were able to recover it and follow it and track it and where all it had went. It went to Long Beach and came back up and ended up the culprits got arrested in Manhattan Beach and on a different charge. It was drug charges and different things, but we were able to tack on, follow that through and tack on the charges of stealing my neighbor's truck. And of course the truck was totaled, but we got it back. And it's nice to, the neighbor wanted to say thank you for doing a great job and helping him. And he at least felt heard, even though he didn't get his truck back the way that he wanted it in the condition that he wanted it. We definitely did what we could do on our part. So thank you to the police officers and to Lieutenant Yoshida. I'd also like to thank Vaughn, and I believe it's code enforcement. I saw online where there was going to be a pop-up event in Eucalyptus Park, and it was like really, it was going buck wild on the internet, and I'm like, really? I don't think we have anything over there. And come to find out, they had one the weekend prior, and so I was talking to Vaughn, and I'm like, if we're going to require our local businesses to pay taxes, have business licenses, how fair is it to them? And we have a farmer's market, and they were going to do this on the same day that we would have had a farmer's market if it wasn't a holiday. And it's like, how fair is that to our local businesses to have outsiders come in and do these pop-ups and then take away from our farmers market? So I believe it was code enforcement.
Absolutely, it was code enforcement and PD. It was a group effort, and I think I mentioned to you our task force meetings that maybe many people don't know. We meet first thing in the morning after each council meeting, and the issues that are brought up to city council, to myself, and issues that we know are in the city, we discuss bi-weekly to come up with resolutions. So thank you to that task force that acted immediately on your direction, and thank you for being a pioneer in the community and informing us what's going on. You guys are our eyes and ears of what's going on, and appreciate the communication with the city manager's office.
Yeah, if we see something, we have to say something. And then in the spirit of a lot of accolades, and a lot of times people will come up and say that we don't do anything. And it was brought to my attention that my council colleague, Alex Montero, 3 weeks ago at the South Bay City Council of Governments, he secured a $1.8 million in Measure M funding to support the planning and design of the proposed parking structure at the Betty Ainsworth parking lot. This investment strengthens our long-term vision for park access, mobility, and community-serving infrastructure. In addition to that, he secured another $6 million in low-interest loans to support partnerships with, how do you say that, Abode? Okay. Communities and the City of Hawthorne for the development of the Corderi Avenue project. And if you're not familiar with the Corderi, I am, because originally it was supposed to have some housing in there for veterans. So it was, the Veterans Affairs Commission was involved in that, but it has changed a little bit. But we, in that particular project, we're looking at 93 new affordable homes coming into Hawthorne. And if I could, Mayor, ask for a slight deviation and give a little bit of my time to Alex so he can explain a little better about what he does. I think it's important that we highlight these things that we're doing, because a lot of times we're doing these things behind the scenes and nobody's saying anything, so you think we're not doing anything. So I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you to go ahead and explain that.
Through the chair. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. I appreciate those kind words. Yeah, if this is our job, it's our duty, right, to fight for the city of Hawthorne. And that's what I do. I fight for you guys every day. So I go to all these meetings, a lot of meetings, and if we're not at the table, we will not get a piece of the pie. So that is where, we have to show up. And then Hawthorne, I have to give kudos to all the staff, because we have, they call shovel-ready projects. We have projects that they have designed, that they have envisioned for them to come to fruition. So when South Bay Corp or some other entity call for projects, Hawthorne is ready. And that is what we step up and we are ready to apply for these grants, to submit the proposals, and that sometimes you have to go there and defend the proposal. And sometimes you got some cities trying to say, why Hawthorne is getting all this money, it's because we are ready, and they do, and some of the cities are not ready. Like, it was 2 projects, and finally Hawthorne was the one that was awarded because they were ready. And thanks to the planning department, to the partnership of housing, so we already been there fighting for our cities, make sure that we moving Hawthorne forward. So I have to say thank you, Vaughn, for his leadership. Thank you, all the departments working together for us to make sure that we're going to do things to improve the quality of life of our citizens. And that's what we've been elected to do, and that's what I've been doing. So thank you for those acclamations.
Thank you. And finally, I want to say congratulations. Another good man has been taken off the market. Thank you. And congratulations on your new nuptials. And that's it for me.
All right, thank you so much. I had notes right here. Okay, so one of my colleagues didn't get to mention this, but I'll just go ahead and mention it. This is the last meeting in May, and so June's coming pretty soon. So we're gonna probably having our next meeting in June 9th. But that same day in the morning, the first thing we're gonna have is the Holly Park bathroom ribbon cutting, which is gonna take place at 10 in the morning at Holly Park. Okay, so those of you who can attend, please do. It was sorely needed, so I guess it's going to be nice, nice water coming out of those toilets and those sinks and everything, and nice and clean, and just a good layout, right? So it's much improved, safe, probably be even safer than it was.
I'm excited about that, considering I got the money for that.
And Councilwoman Katrina Manning was very involved in obtaining the money for this, and she pushed for it. I'm sorry, I didn't, yeah. So that's good, so thank you so much. We also have the FIFA mural unveiling that's gonna take place on June 9th at 11:30, so if you are at one, you can go to the other. Can you please tell us the address where the mural will be?
Absolutely, I can, Mayor. This location is on Fermona Imperial at the dead end. The exact address would be 11200 Fermona. It's not a ribbon cutting, it's not a groundbreaking, it's just come see the mural. We'll have light refreshments there. Staff will be there, and we'll answer questions about the mural.
Okay, awesome, and it looks great.
Thank you.
I see the design looks great.
And I want to commend the task force again for that. As we meet, we've had some issues there on that cul-de-sac, so this was one of the ideas that this task force came up with to innovate, activate that street with a mural, but also protect our staff, which I know the council members really care about. So this was a grander process to actually put a mural, brick wall, and bring something to our city for FIFA.
Okay, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. It's gonna look great in a sorely needed part of our community. But then after the meeting, just giving you a heads up so you can start planning. At 11 o'clock in the morning, there's going to be a Juneteenth celebration on June 13th at Holly Park. Okay? So at 11 in the morning to 3 p.m., okay, folks? So put that on your calendars. Oh, the group, okay. He wants me to mention the group, Dirty Rice. Dirty Rice. What kind of music is that? Like reggae or soul? Okay. So Dirty Rice is going to be playing an eclectic mix of music for your entertainment, folks. But then at 12 p.m. that same day, so unfortunately there's going to be some overlap. We're going to have a soccer watch party here at Hawthorne City Hall. Is that correct, Mr. City Manager? Here at City Hall. Okay, and there's going to be 2 matches. The first match is Qatar versus Switzerland at 12 p.m. And the next one is the good one. It's going to be Morocco versus Brazil at 3 p.m. I'm like, wow. Morocco's pretty good, guys. They got some good players playing in Europe. So Brazil's kind of not, I don't know. I don't want to say they're not where they used to be, but they're not what they used to be. So we'll find out. Okay? So from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. So if you're attending the Juneteenth event, you'll be able to make your way over here to City Hall to be able to take advantage of that. From what I was told, there was Mr. City Manager. Can you just briefly tell us about the priority registration and how it turned out?
Yes, this was driven by City Council, Hawthorne first, that's what was told to me. So staff, community service worked really hard to build this item out on our active registration site on the City of Hawthorne website. And with that, it gave Hawthorne residents 5 days of prior registration before it opened to non-residents. It went well, streamlined. I haven't heard any complaints yet. 25 to 30% of the classes are full. It seems like the Saturday classes were the popular ones. Today was the first day it was open to non-residents.
Okay, awesome. And that's actually more days than I had. Like, say, hey, I want to see 2 days at least. And you guys went 5, and so it turned out really good, right?
As of now, yes.
Okay, good, wonderful. And that same day, on Saturday it started, right?
It started on Thursday of last week.
Okay, well, on Saturday I went to the pool, and on Thursday, actually, Wednesday, no, I'm sorry, on Friday, it was full. The pool was full, just a rec swim, and all those parents who had went to enroll their children in these programs, they were told about the pool, and that pool was full that day. So I think everybody's being turned on to all the opportunities that we have and all the services, and are taking advantage of it. Okay, so I had an event myself. It was the Coffee with the Mayor at the McDonald's that's on Imperial and Hawthorne Boulevard. There's some people here who were there in attendance, so thank you for attending, all those people who attended. And I was able to answer some questions on things happening in the city, being able to get some constituent information forms so that we could address some of their concerns. So it turned out good. Grimace was there, and the Hamburglar was there. Originally, I tried to get Birdie to be there, but it was just Grimace and the Hamburglar. So it turned out pretty cool. We stayed there for a while, and people just kept coming in and out. So thank you to all those who attended that event. That I did in conjunction with McDonald's itself. So thank you. All right, and yes. ¿Qué pasó? Quickly.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a reminder, on June 3rd, we're going to have the Kiwanis and Rotary Police and Fire Award, right? So on June 3rd at Memorial Center at 11:30, the Rotary and Kiwanis is having an award celebration that's going to give an award to one of our police officers and one to the firefighter department captain or someone in there. So if you're all invited, June 3rd, 11:30 at Memorial Center, we're going to have an event to celebrate our police department and the firefighter department. So be there.
Thank you. All right. So, God, I lost what I was going to say. Oh my good Lord. Either way, the Veterans Commission, pretty soon we'll be addressing that. So far, we have somebody that contacted you, Mr. Councilmember Montero, and then there's like 4 other people. If anybody else is interested in joining the Veterans Commission, please apply now before the next meeting, because we will be addressing that commission as a whole. Okay? Its roles, its duties. So I'll be asking the city manager maybe to put on an action discussion item to address that.
Is that a maybe, or are we moving forward with that, Alex? Mr. Mayor Vargas?
No, I think we're going to do that. I just want to find out the way and the manner in which we want to do it, and then I'll just let you know beforehand. I don't think I'm ready to give you the exact thing right now. Okay? All right. And the reason being is because it's going to be a sequence of things that we're going to do, so I got to figure out the sequence. Okay. Are there any directives?
I do. I have one.
Okay, I'll go first.
City Manager, if you could please take a look into
listening. Yes, we're just getting clarity.
City Manager, if you can take a look into us getting our own fire department, and if you could maybe report back to me in August, end of August. Is that something that needs a vote? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. It dies because of a lack of a second. Okay. Anything else? All right, go ahead.
I'd like to do the directive to follow up with Del Air Baptist. If you could continue the conversation to see how we could benefit and maybe bring back some ideas or suggestions to the council.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote. Please vote.
The votes are in. The vote reflects mayor and council voting yes, with Councilmember Manning voting no.
So, you got something? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just want to, Mr. Mayor, I don't want to, overstep your authority, but I do want to give the directive to bring all those applicants that have submitted for commissioners, because, they have filled up the application, and some of them have been waiting for a couple months. So we should just bring them in and try to decide to vote on those, because, we have to move on forward.
No, absolutely. Look, I'll address that because I guess that kind of sort of falls under my authority, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. So I want to be able to have the structure to address the whole. Okay, there's applicants that have applied for the Parks and Rec, okay? You might know one of them. There's applicants who have applied to join the Veterans Commission, and I believe we're going to make some changes to the Veterans Commission as a whole, its membership, because of inactivity by individuals. I'm just putting it out there so you know already. Inactivity by certain members of the commission, and also some of the members have their terms have expired, and we have sufficient enough members that members from the community that have applied to be able to join that. So that's the plan. Okay. So I'm just giving you a heads up. So I'll be giving the city manager and the city attorney those names, and just hopefully there's a fifth person for the Veterans Commission that would come forth.
So can we just put on the agenda to discuss that? Because they have to be agendized.
I'll be doing that.
Okay, so.
You have my commitment. You have my commitment.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely, you have my commitment.
I appreciate it, thank you.
I just need to discuss the manner in which we go ahead and doing certain things in order to make room for those commissioners that we're placing in there, okay? Yeah, but it's something that I want to discuss right here in front of the commission, yeah. Yes, absolutely, next, okay. The next commission, we'll be having that on the agenda for sure. Okay?
Got it? You got agreement?
He has to give me direction.
Okay, oh, you have to give it direction.
I will be giving them direction. I'm offline.
Put on the agenda, but you have to, we have
Okay,
to vote it.
I'm declaring right now that I'll be giving the, oh, okay.
It is a
No.
directive. I want those to bring it.
I can indicate that the code states,
As the mayor.
we're talking about the Veterans Affairs Commission, correct?
We talk about all the commissioners overall,
Okay.
all the applicants.
If it makes you feel better, I'm going to I have a directive that I'll be giving details about shortly as to nominating members of the new members for the commissions.
I second it.
Okay? If that makes you feel better, you have a commitment as of
I
that.
second it.
Okay, please vote.
What are we voting on?
That we'll be making some changes to the upcoming commissions, and I'll be making nominations. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Diane, we have to vote. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The votes are in. The vote reflects mayor and council voting yes.
All right, so thank you. Any other directives? If not, is there anything further from council members or staff? Oh, by the way, we have a great community services program right here that you can pick up. I believe at over there at the Parks and Recs Department, and we might have some here in City Hall. So that all the offerings are here, and if you look online at our website, you'll be able to see it. So anybody listening right now, make sure you guys apply before these classes get full, okay? The swim program is really good, okay? So take advantage of that. We have yoga, we have kids summer camps that take place. There's also gonna be movies there's gonna be 2 movies in the pool and 2 movies in the park. Friday, July 17th, Friday, July 31st, Friday, August 14th, and August 28th. Youth summer basketball, Mexican folkloric dance, judo. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff, okay? So just take a look and see if there's anything you're interested in. There's a lot of programs for adults, too. Our new senior center is going to be opening up soon, so that's something really nice to look forward to for our seniors to enjoy themselves. Our public works building is, on point to be, on track to be finished pretty soon. So that's going to be a really wondrous type of building for us, for our employees to be able to, operate from. If there's nothing further from staff or council, this meeting is adjourned at 8:41.